Welcome to the Canadian Jewish Edition. I'm your host, Gloria Valentine. Last year, we did a program on an artist, the late Lee Vogel, who was one of the children of Turan. Our guest today, Beverley Burdeyney, organized that exhibit and brought it to the attention of the public. It's had far-reaching consequences and continues to be shown. The work that Beverley Burdeyney does in other areas also have far-reaching consequences. Beverley Burdeyney is a personal exercise coach, a fitness writer, lecturer, and facilitator. She's given numerous demonstrations and presentations and is the author of many articles on personal fitness. She's a living example of what she teaches. In 2010, Beverley was honored as a Woman of the Week for the Women's Post. In 2011, she was honored as a Woman of Baycrest. And in August of this year, she received the Woman of Action Award from A Celebration of Women, the first and only global advocacy organization where women leaders are being celebrated for spearheading positive philanthropic action. Other recipients of this award include Hillary Clinton and Dr. Sharifa Sharif. The Toronto address for this organization is Celebration House Education and Event Center on St. Clair Avenue West. Beverley Burdeyney is a modest woman who impressed me with her quiet elegance and willingness to help wherever she's needed. Her motto is, do your personal best and the rewards will come. Beverley's a community volunteer and a fundraiser. She is one of those behind-the-scenes persons who makes it all happen. Within the last 30 years, Beverley has worked with Baycrest, with B'nai B'rith Canada, the UJA, for Tomchai Shabbos, Bikur Chalom for the Breslover community of Tzfat Israel, the NCSY with Chaneses Kala and with the Village Shul. Beverley's life is based on this credo by Leo Tolstoy, who said, everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing him or herself, and that is where the magic lies. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Dear viewers, prepare to be impressed and inspired. Hi, Beverley, and welcome to the Canadian Jewish Edition. You are such a remarkable woman, I almost don't know where to start. So I'm going to start by asking you to share with our viewers your own personal experiences that led to a lifetime of helping others.
I'll do my best to try to explain that. I was born with a spina bifida, number 3 to 5. And as a youngster, I did not understand the melodies attached to this. I had many issues, but of course, I looked normal, but I wasn't normal. And with that, I tried to understand myself and to move forward. I was isolated in certain ways simply because I could, for example, not disrobe in front of my friends as other young girls perhaps would and take a shower.
You were born with this and then...
Yes.
And then...
Yes. And in turn, I have a large birthmark, a hairy birthmark. That's grotesque. And I would be the victim of laughter, of finger pointing. And that in turn created... It was cruelty at its best, but kids don't understand that. Mm-hmm. Today I look at it with a very different view, and I probably couldn't care less if I were doing it today. But then it was a big issue as a young woman.
Of course.
And then as I progressed in life, I always tried to understand that tomorrow would be a better day, and I would definitely cope with all the issues. My parents didn't understand. They knew that I had this condition, but all the doctors wanted to do was to operate, and in turn, but my options then were very limited. They told my parents that they could not guarantee that I'd ever walk again. I may lose control of my bladder, my rectum.
And this is a young child. That's horrible.
This is as a young child, that there was no guarantee about the surgery. So therefore, my parents being old-fashioned and not understanding the medical aspect, they said, no, we're going to just let her cope with life. And that's the greatest gift my parents gave me, because then as I grew older and went also into the medical profession, I understood much more.
You studied in Vienna at one
Well,
point.
yes, but prior to that, I was a nursing student at the Montreal General Hospital. So therefore, I got a much greater understanding of what my medical condition was. And I actually got a diagnosis. I had a spina bifida. And I researched it, and I talked, and I understood now what I was up against. However, as a youngster, I tried to understand my options, but unfortunately, the options were exactly that was given at the time to my parents.
So you learned to live with it?
So I said, I will just continue to do my thing, and I did. However, I married, got pregnant, and unfortunately, the pregnancy, although I was told never to get pregnant, nevertheless I did, because I was me. I wanted a baby, and particularly a baby girl. And I was blessed with it, and I got one, a beautiful human being. And with that in mind, I realized that as I was getting heavier and heavier insofar as my body weight was concerned, carrying a pregnancy meant having other issues, a sway back, causing enormous problems in my skeletal system. So then I got a medical condition which augmented the other issues, and I was confined to bed on the 3rd month of my pregnancy.
Oh my.
So the placenta previa, in which I was hemorrhaging virtually every day, so I was just continuing to lose strength and capacity to perform. Eventually I was hospitalized for a couple of months with that too. But the final stage was in hemorrhaging was that they removed the baby from me in order to save my life and the baby's life. I saw my baby only when she was 5 days old.
Oh my.
Then in turn, when I tried to get off the bed, well, I thought, of course, naturally, because of a cesarean section, they did it very differently then than they do today. Today, just a little 1-inch scar. Then it was a whole different operation.
Surgery, yes.
I had no capacity to move. I had no strength to stand up. I was literally an invalid. And
you were how old?
I was 25. And in turn, what happened was that I ended up in a body cast, in a wheelchair, and other various treatments.
And other people might give up at a time like this.
True, but I did not. I had a couple of friends, an internist and a neurologist, who also re-emphasized what my parents thought: don't ever have an operation. Instead, my friend in particular, Bronya, said, listen, you must go to Europe. There is a woman, a female doctor by the name of Bess Menzendick, who in turn has created a particular kind of technique, pelvic girdle stability, that you should learn about, and this may help you to cope with your life. Lo and behold, that is what happened. So 47 years ago, I was then in Europe, and in turn studied her technique and managed to understand the importance of exercise is medicine. Because eventually I became stronger, more functional, and became the master of my own destiny, master of my own body. So really, that was it in a nutshell.
When did you decide to share what you had learned and what had saved you with other people?
Actually, it was in 1983 when I was in the international field of, I was executive director of Canada for a dental firm out of Kyoto, Japan. And I realized I no longer cared about their bottom line. I was caring about people. And not just the dental field, but the total body. And I knew I had to address this issue. So with that, I made an acute decision that I'd be self-employed and create this program and in turn make a difference in people's lives. And I have, and I've never looked back, because I implemented my technique, taught people how to take care of themselves, and in turn create a life for themselves. It may not be a perfect life, but you can manage your life, and that's what's important to me.
And this was personal. So you're a personal trainer. Personal
exercise coach is what I referred myself to, one-on-one training.
And you go to people's homes
or offices or whatever. But the bottom line was that nobody ever did that before. I was the first one on the scene, and to provide that service. And more importantly, I then started getting phone calls from people who understood that I was making a difference in their lives and recommended more individuals, and eventually just snowballed into articles, into TV programs, into everything possible, because I did not do the conventional, what they call trainer's regime.
Tell us a little bit about
I assessed.
what you do.
I was a good diagnostician. I understood what the body could and couldn't do. And based on that, I then led these people through the system so that they can actually take control of their life. And with baby steps all the way, and there's no two programs alike, it's just the mere fact, let's try to understand you. Let's try to
So
do
everybody is
something
different, and you create a program for each.
based on their personal needs. And that is where I succeeded, and that's where I've never looked back.
Oh, that's amazing. And you're still doing it today.
I am. Yes.
It's what, how many years? 30 years?
30 years.
That's remarkable.
And I still get excited when in turn I achieve results.
And you're a living example of how that system absolutely works.
Absolutely. I know.
My dear viewers, you got to go and see this woman when she's standing up. She's amazing.
I know exercise is medicine because, yes, I am vertical, I am functional, and I've had a full life. Although sometimes I abused it in the sense, as they say, having a baby, but oh, what a gift. How beautiful.
And your daughter is now, or you're a grandmother now?
Yes, I have 4 grandchildren as well, yes. And the love of my life, and enjoy them immensely, and it's been rewarding being a bubby. Absolutely.
So our dear viewers, so this wonderful woman is not only still actively involved with helping people with her wonderful exercise program, myself included, but she has done amazing volunteer work in the community over the last few years. She was honored with many awards. Tell us a little bit. I know you're very modest and you don't boast about these things, but please tell us a little bit about your community work and how you've been honored.
I started off primarily with Baycrest. I have their 500-hour volunteer pin. And at that time, Baycrest was looked upon as an old age institution. People were afraid of aging individuals. They did not want to come near an old person. It was repulsive. Yeah. And recruiting volunteers was almost impossible.
When was everybody this, Bev? In the 80s as well?
In the 80s. And in turn, everybody wanted to be in Mount Sinai, as an example, because that was the in place to be. Well, I couldn't accept that as a way of life. I knew that I had to do some chesed, and basically I've had many great teachers, and I know how important it is to treat people with compassion, with goodness, and with love. And older people in particular who are isolated and have no family, I knew we had to help them. So I actually recruited volunteers for Baycrest. I schlepped to synagogues and here and there and everywhere and said, people, come and look at it. Come, I'll show you how important it is. Think about yourself. If you were in that situation, what would you do? You'd want someone to visit you. You would do the same. And that's how it came about. Skip many years later, I've been involved honored as a woman of Baycrest for the work that I helped Lynn Poslins, the chair of Women of Baycrest, achieve resources for women's brain health.
Yeah, there was a conference.
Yes.
Yes. That's ongoing now?
That's ongoing under the...
But you were there for the very first
yes, from
one.
The Women of Baycrest, yes. And now Lynn Poslin has taken this as a separate identity on her own because the Baycrest has changed their agenda. But yes, I'm proud to say I am a woman of of Baycrest.
Oh,
and we
that's
achieved
wonderful.
a great deal.
And your personal passions have contributed to the lives of so many others, including the village shul.
Yes.
I know there was just a big celebration, and you had your picture taken with Senator Joe Lieberman.
Yes, indeed. And I'm very proud to say that I have...
And you brought the first Sefer Torah into the village shul.
That's correct.
Tell us about, you know what, Bev, tell us about your beliefs and why you're so passionate about the village shul and have worked so hard over there.
Well, it all happened by chance, and that seems to be my life. Everything falls in my lap, and I assess and say, it's the right thing to hold on to.
But you don't toss it off your lap. You pick it up and do something with it.
I keep it on my lap. And actually what happened was that I had come back, as I say, into Toronto after an international career. And I was searching for a synagogue that would stroke my heart, that would talk to me. That I can dance leaving shul and know that I have enjoyed myself.
Yes, you say that when it rains, you don't go inside, you dance in the rain.
Absolutely.
That's a wonderful, wonderful image.
And to me, this is what we have created in the village shul. And we have made a difference in Toronto insofar as how other shuls really perform and give to their congregational members, okay? Because this is very important, because at one time it was just rigid. This is what we're doing. You either come or you don't. We made it cool to be at shul. We wanted you...
Cool to be at shul.
Yes.
I like that.
In other words, just come and participate. I mean, at your level of observance, come and listen to a lecture if you don't want to daven. Okay, just do something. Be the most important thing from my perspective. If you're not enjoying being a Jew, what are you doing wrong? Is my question to you. Don't look anywhere else. Just look in your own backyard, and we can offer you anything you want. And if you don't enjoy our shul, trust me, then maybe it's time to make a change. But I know you'll embrace it, you'll love it, and you'll live it. And that's what we feel we've created. And
so when did the village shul actually get created?
Well, we started off in the Bethleda in the basement. Okay.
I remember you used to be in Eglinton.
That was the cheese shop. That's already step number 3. And from there, that's when I did the fundraiser, the Sefer Torah event.
Yes.
And this has a nice twist to it, and I think you'll enjoy the story if I may indulge you.
Please.
My daughter was married 8 years. And you know, as a Jewish mother, you say no. And we'll tell you when it's no. So I decided, I said, listen, I'm doing a Sefer Torah event for the village shul. My portion is going to be dedicated to my first grandchild. So lo and behold, the town crier picks this up. She makes a pact with God.
Yeah, we have the headline on. Yes.
And the truth of the proof is in the pudding. When I created a Torah family that we could have the Sefer Torah completed and dedicated to the village shul. But in the dedication, I made it known loud and clear. The proof is in the pudding. I have delivered you a Sefer Torah, and I have myself a baby boychik, a little boy named William Twister.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
And that's a true story. That's a true story. And then to top that one off, because we were a new shul and people didn't have, different people had different ways of practicing, I did a traditional pidyon haben for my grandson at the village shul. I laid him out on the silver platter, put all the jewelry around, put in cubes in white veiling and a red ribbon with cubes and white sugar cubes and garlic cloves. And that was given to each person as they left so they can use it for their Shabbat cholent. And in turn, I had a crying violin playing passionately Fiddler of the Roof music. I don't think there was a dry-eyed person in the room when we did this. And with that, we redeemed my grandson.
Oh, how beautiful.
And it was so good for the heart. It was excellent for the heart. And so went many other things that I've done for the shul, whether, of course, fundraising, getting people to participate, I did their stationery, the first yurtzeit board for the shul, the garden around the shul, just about anything you want that needed to be done. I was the gopher of the shul, a volunteer gopher, but we accomplished as a group a lot. And that's our village shul today. And yes, we celebrated 25 years over the weekend, and I was proud to say I am part of this group, and this is our shul. And this is a Toronto shul as well. And also during that period of time, I brought in Rebbitzin Fegi Twersky, who is whose husband is Rabbi Michael Twersky from Milwaukee, from direct descendants from the Bel Shem Tov. And in turn, I started the first women's series of learning, lunch and learning to be exact. And again, this has been taken in by the community, and almost it's everywhere today. Women's learning has just skyrocketed.
You've been a bloody pioneer, my dear.
A pioneer in my own way.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. And
you
with
took
that,
your uniqueness and you made it happen for so many people.
well, I tried to share my vision. Today I'm dated, and you know what? I don't belong anywhere because, you know, today's vision is very different than when I implemented mine. But at that time, I had the chutzpah to know this is what was right, and I made it happen. But today, I'll double check what I say.
It's a different world. It's a different world.
Absolutely. And I don't mind. You know, like I used to be on the board of directors of the village shul too. I have since resigned because I really feel we have to give the power over to a younger group who are raising children in an era that I know nothing about. There's many things I don't understand. And I think I'm a reasonably good person, understanding person, an educated person.
It's a different
but
world.
I don't have the same contact with the younger group in the sense of do they understand what makes me tick?
You know, that's to me that's the hardest thing is getting older. It's not the getting older. You know, we're pretty good. It's looking at the world around us and saying, where's my place in it now?
Exactly, and that's what I'm trying to establish. So I'm exploring by simply even consenting to this interview because this is not my style.
I know,
But
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm a very private person, as you know, and this kind of exposure really is something I do not do. I've done it for my profession.
But you know, it's important.
And I've done it for other programs, but not me, not to focus on me.
But you know, it's important for other people out there, and I say women, men too, just to know, I believe that we all have a story. And in our own ways, we're heroic. Women are heroic. And our stories are untold, and yours is one that I think is so special.
Thank you.
I want everybody to know about you.
Thank you. But you know, I really believe that women are special, and we should empower them with education and direction, be mentors, so that other women can rise above their level of thinking, because I believe your mind controls what you believe you can be.
And at this age, it's like all of us who are over 70 are looking for a life that still has meaning, and where do we focus? What do we do to make ourselves better and the world around us better? Well, you're doing it.
True. Well, I
do you have any words of wisdom for us all?
Yes, I just simply say make each day count. Embrace it, understand it. What do you want? Don't let anybody make your decisions. Be involved with life. What do you want is what I'm saying. I know what I still want.
What do you want?
I can still jump out of bed and play, okay? So to say. I want to soar like an eagle. Yes. I still want to make a contribution on so many levels, particularly when it comes to the community and women. Absolutely. So I'm not prepared to just stand aside and let the world pass me by. I want to make sure I'm on that train. And not just on the train, but being the engineer of the train.
Where did this belief system come from?
I beg your pardon?
Your belief system. Is it I know you're part of the shul, and that's religious. Do you have a belief in God?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no if, buts, or maybes. On my books, I daven daily, I attend shul regularly, but that's not the issue. You see, it empowers me. It gives me, especially when we have good davening at our shul, the nigunim, okay? They make you rise to a level that nothing else can do. Forget all the pop music and forget even and I'm a lover of classical music, opera and the likes, okay? But when you hear traditional melodies, now may I give you a personal example. The Shabbos past, in which we were doing our 25th anniversary celebration, the min on the bima, there were several who were davening and singing. And when it came to the Shema, in the Musaf section, the Chazan looked at me, and before I knew it, they were doing it in the old traditional Jewish melody. What could be more beautiful than that? When I hear something of that nature, I literally hum it all day.
Your spirit soars.
Exactly, my ego soars, and I feel I'm soaring in the world. And that reinforcement, that empowerment, that connection, there is no other connection from my perspective. It lasts me for the week and I go back for more. I need that injection time and time again. And that's why it's so important for me to make sure I'm a part of that, because it reinforces me as a person.
Beverley, it's been my absolute pleasure to have you on our show. I think you've inspired our viewers. I know you constantly inspire me. Thank you so much on behalf of the Canadian Jewish Edition for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you. C'est tout? Thank you. Okay.
For the Canadian Jewish Edition, I'm your host, Gloria Valentine. Until we see each other next time, sei gesund and shalom.